Welcome to Finding Certainty with your host and U.S. Army veteran, Patrick Lang. Over the next hour, you'll learn from Patrick and his expert guests how to attract more certainty into your business and your life. Now, here is your host, Patrick Lang.
Hi, everybody. Patrick Lang with Finding Certainty. I'm very pleased to have a good friend of mine, Sara Nakamura, on the show this morning. And I think the topic today of today's episode is really ideal for the new year. We're going to be talking with Sara about her business as a stress reduction and stress elimination expert. She's the owner of two different companies. She owns a company called Inspired Mind 360 and another one called, tell me the second company name. I keep forgetting it.
No worries, Patrick. It's called Massage My Mind.
Massage My Mind. And I knew there was massage in there and mind in there. But anyway, I appreciate that. It's we're starting out early today. But I know you're the co-founder of both of the companies. You have a very diverse background that has led to you being an expert in this area. You're an Amazon bestselling author. You're a speaker. You've been on stages speaking with some of the biggest names in the industry, but all around moving beyond your stress. So many of us deal with it, especially as I explained in the episode description. We start out a new year with a lot of hope, but also trepidation. Right? We have faith, but we're also maybe a little bit worried about what's coming in the next year. So. Very excited to have you on to talk about this topic and share some of your stories, Sara. You've accomplished quite a bit in your life, and you are helping a lot of people. So, thanks so much. Thanks for being here,
Patrick, and thank you so much for having me here and being able to share our message.
Well, it's an important one. It's one that I think every one of our listeners can resonate with and can relate to. I always start the show out by just sharing two main reasons why I've invited this specific guest on to Finding Certainty. And obviously, when we talk about managing our stress and living a healthier and a more productive life, dealing with our stress and making sure that we're controlling it and it's not controlling us is a key part of having certainty in our life, right? When I was asked to start the show for Voice America, they asked me what would the focus of the show be, and I said, ideally, it's on how we as business owners and just even as individuals and families, we need to be willing to evolve if we want to be successful. We've got to be willing to consider new relationships and new technologies, new approaches, and so forth. And when I was introduced to you, Sara, and I learned what you do in together with your business partner and your partner, Rachel. I was just really blown away. I first heard Sara speak at an event I attended here in Las Vegas. I was just talking about her book that had recently become a bestseller. And I just thought, wow, this is something that every person out there needs to hear. And I think I came up and spoke to you about being on the show immediately. I mean, the day we met. So but anyway, so there's always two reasons why I invite a specific guest. The first is that I do believe that what Sara and Rachel do and their companies can absolutely change your life. It can help you achieve more. It can help you find more certainty, more satisfaction, more peace in your life. And this is something that obviously all of us desire. Secondly, you have an interesting story where you've gone from total stage fright. It was even hard to be on Zoom talking with somebody, and now you're a renowned speaker speaking on stages with the likes of Sharon Lecter and Bill Walsh and even Les Brown. I mean, the master, right? And so I want to talk about your journey, because so much of what we're talking about is evolution and getting better at what we do, and you have obviously and continue to obviously do that. So again, thanks for being here, Sara, and why don't we jump into a little bit about your background? Tell us where you grew up and what brought you here to Las Vegas. I know we're both here local in the area, which is nice, but where'd you start out and how did you get here?
Well, we'll go all the way back, Patrick. Thank you. I was born in Hawaii. I'm a native Hawaiian, and my father got an opportunity when I was 4 years old to come to Las Vegas. Las Vegas is the entertainment capital of the world, and he had a great opportunity to come here, and so I grew up in the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas. Leaving Hawaii was a little bit difficult. We're laid back, beautiful beaches, and moving into the hustle and bustle of Vegas. As it's really different outside of the strip, outside of the hotel and casino industry. And honestly, a question that I get a lot is, do you live in a hotel and do you actually live in Vegas? And it's funny. I used to think that that was an unusual question, but I hear it so often. It's really a matter of perspective, right? There's so many times where our tourists, our guests come in and they see, the hustle and bustle of Vegas, and they think that we fly in and come in, just to do work. But that's really not true, as you know. There's such a whole nother side to Vegas, just like there's another side of stress, right? But growing up here, I lived a natural and normal life. But it was just my parents and I, after having a huge Hawaiian family around me. My introverted side, kind of stayed in this shell for a good number of years, and I really never felt like I fit into a lot of different places. And it wasn't until I found sports that I really started coming out of my shell. And like I told you before, or like you just mentioned, that I really had a huge stage fright. I wasn't able to speak to anybody outside of maybe a one-on-one conversation. And it was just really debilitating for me for so many years.
Right. Let me interject. Your comments on Vegas. It's funny because, I mean, no city is just its downtown. It's just its main street, right? But
right.
So many people think that. They think that Vegas is the strip, that's all there is. And yet you get 2 blocks away and you get into neighborhoods and you get into community, and you forget the strip is even there. I mean, we like looking down from where we live and seeing the lights. It's one of our favorite things, is the cityscape. But it's so far away, you almost forget it's there unless you're going in to grab dinner, or maybe see a show or something. But there's such a great community here in Vegas. I mean, we love our church, we love our neighbors. It's really interesting. So and one interesting comment is there's a lot of Polynesians here, a lot of Hawaiians here. They actually refer to Las Vegas as the ninth island, right?
They certainly do.
I didn't know that until I moved here, but that's quite funny. Why do you think there are so many Hawaiians here? Is it just because they love to gamble, or is there something else?
Well, that's part of a bigger story where Sam Boyd Gaming, he was going downhill with his business and really found that Hawaiians did love to come to Vegas. And so he planted himself in Hawaii, which he loved, and saw that there was a connection between the two, created some really great deals, brought in a lot of Hawaiians, and created just this really niche market for himself, which grew into this bigger picture that you see now of Hawaiians moving here. And we were part of that, not on the gambling side, but just the fact that again, like you said, it's a ninth island. So right. I'm glad that they've brought a lot of our culture and food here to Vegas.
I love it. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but my brother's actually adopted from the South Pacific. He's a Samoan. Oh. And I have a sister who's adopted from Korea. And I understand your father was Japanese and Hawaiian. That's correct. Your mother's European. So you would love our family. We're like the United Nations. I've got a Korean sister, Samoan brother, Caucasian sister-in-law, Black brother-in-law. I mean, our family looks like the colors of Benetton, right? And I'm the pasty white one, but but it was such a great way to grow up, and I have a real appreciation. We love all things Polynesian. We lived in New Zealand for several years when I was a child, and so it's like my second home. Anything with palm trees. That's probably why I like Las Vegas, because there's palm trees here, right?
I know, again, it gives you a taste of the islands and kind of brings you a little bit more laid back. And I can only imagine the amount of different types of foods you had in your home, which, that just sparks an interest for me as far as food is concerned.
Absolutely. And, my motto is we don't meet if we don't eat. That's,
Mhm.
that's a mantra. But it's funny. I came out of the hospital a couple of weeks ago. My wife had a little kind of same day surgery, just a minor procedure, but we came out of it, and it had been raining, which it doesn't rain here often, but it had been raining. The sun was coming through the clouds. There were palm trees all around the hospital and mountains in the background. And I thought, and it looked like Hawaii to me. I mean, it felt like I was in Maui or in Oahu or somewhere. So, and we love Hawaii. We just went in April for our 10-year anniversary. So
Oh,
it was fun.
congratulations.
Okay, so you moved here. I know you have a degree in hospitality, and you've spent quite a bit of time honing your people skills and your service skills and so forth. And in hospitality, you worked in spa services and food and beverage. And I mean, you really hone your customer service skills when you're working in those lanes, right? But tell us a little bit about your training, because I know you are certified in about 15 different things. I mean, it seems like, but tell us a little bit about your professional training.
So in my professional training, like you said, I have a degree from UNLV, and I really went into hospitality management because that's what my father did. I was an art major at one time. I loved art. I still do. However, being in this town and seeing just the amount of different things that you can do, there's possibilities everywhere when you get into hospitality. And I loved people. I'd worked at a golf range right out of high school, got to play golf with some of the greats, or be around some of the greats, not play with them, but be around them. And so really getting my hospitality management degree led me into management of restaurants and the bar industry. And, that's a 24-hour business. And
yeah.
so there's exactly. And there was so much to that, and a lot of stress associated with that. But I ended up getting my hospitality degree, utilizing that in management for a good number of years. And then, really got stressed out so badly in my life that, we were working 60, 70, 80 hours a week at times. We were opening up 3 Starbucks at the location that I was in. I, at that time, was doing computer programming as well as managing a staff, and got completely burnt out with it. And it wasn't until my boss really just, laid into one of my coworkers that I decided that this wasn't for me anymore. And I switched gears. I went into massage therapy, because what's the complete opposite of all that tension and stress? Massage therapy.
Calgon, keep me away, right?
Exactly. Bubble baths and relaxation. And and I really got into massage to help myself, to help to heal my own health. I had stage 4 endometriosis. I got an autoimmune disease. My hair was falling out. I was taking a bottle of antacids almost every single day, with the amount of stress that I had. But the people around me were doing something similar, so I thought that was normal. So again, I went into massage therapy and helped myself in health and helped others. So that was the second kind of component, and kind of the second chapter of my career.
Well, I have so much respect for all of the workers here in Las Vegas, and there are thousands and thousands, right, supporting this massive industry. I mean, it's obviously the entertainment capital of the world. There's, millions of hotel rooms. There's just so many hardworking individuals. And it's a little sad because I've heard that the government, the political powers here, the hotels and others, they really don't support and encourage education. They don't support and encourage this financial advancement and development, because they don't want people to want more than the lower wages many of them are making. And it's not a great commentary on Vegas or Las Vegas or Nevada even in there and what drives them, but the people who do it, who are in those jobs, who are working so hard to provide for their families and get ahead and so forth, they're just amazing. I mean, they're the hardest workers, I think, anywhere in the country. And, and I understand the stress stuff, because I look at them at the end of their shift and they're leaving, going home, and they just look exhausted so often. And so I can resonate with that, And so you decided to go a different direction, which call it a pivot or call it a paradigm shift or whatever it was. We've all gone through them in our lives, right? Most of us have, at least. It's interesting you mentioned endometriosis. My first wife had a severe endometriosis, had to have a hysterectomy at 28. And that is it's a very common disease, actually. A lot of women struggle with that. We ended up not being able to have children. We ended up trying to adopt, and it was really hard on her. And but that's a whole nother story. But so I've been down that road. It's my hat, my heart goes out to you, because that's tough. But okay, so beyond massage, though, and we're coming up on our first break here in a minute or two, but beyond massage, you have then developed your skills as a massage therapist, and you do so many other things. You do therapeutic massage, you do body work, you're now a stress expert, and you've evolved and developed this into a business where you are serving your clients on so many different levels. You're helping them. And this maybe goes without saying, but when you help someone manage their stress and let go of pain and regret and anxiety and these things, there are ripple effects, right? There's ramifications. It doesn't just fix one area. I know for a fact that it fixes so many different areas. So I got to tell you, that's the main reason I wanted to have you on this show, because I think what you do has a fundamental effect on your clients in so many different areas, not just one. And when we come back from the break, we're going to break down what exactly you do and how you do it. So we've got another minute or so. Any thoughts to this point on that transition? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
besides being stressed, was there something you were hoping to accomplish?
Well, and that's what you're talking about. It does touch every area of your life. And that's the first part of my book, being the ripple effect. And what kind of ripple do you want to have in this world? And we talk about the 6 areas of life, and we can dive into that a little bit more after the break.
Right. Well, we're speaking with Sara Nakamura. She is rapidly becoming an internationally renowned speaker, trainer, and expert in her field. And that is getting beyond stress in our lives. Sounds pretty good to me, right? Who wants to hold on to stress? Some of us, we hold on to it, maybe not even realizing that we are, but there's so much more abundance and peace and happiness if we can let it go, right? We can get beyond it. So we'll be right back, everybody. Thanks for being here with us on Finding Certainty. Thanks again for being here, Sara, and don't go away.
Okay, great job. We're all clear. Back in a couple.
Thanks, Matt. So with the YouTube video, whoever watches the YouTube version gets the behind the scenes stuff.
I see.
They get the chit chat between the breaks. So it's not always that exciting, but it is a little. So yeah, that's funny. We have a lot in common, actually, Sara. That's interesting.
We do. And it's amazing, when you connect to somebody at just this level of, speaking, and it gets to open up the doors to so many other things in life. And, beneath that surface, we're all, we have so much in common. It's just human beings, and we want the best for our lives and for our families.
Yeah. And you and Rachel, I mean, the first day I met you guys, I felt like we were kindred spirits, right? And my sister's from another mother, we just hit it right off. And it's been fun getting to know you guys. Mm-hmm. We keep running into each other, it seems. Every time we show up somewhere, we're both there.
That's right.
I go somewhere and I see you, and you go somewhere, you see me, right? It's just I know working with Bill Walsh and his power team is obviously contributes, because we're both involved with that. But
absolutely. And I think we also have, a little bit more of a tightness, going through a hurricane together. Yeah. It kind of brings people together.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I think that's what's been, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. We were in Hurricane Ian in Orlando, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
That was fun. That was quite the experience,
Yeah.
actually. I'd never done that. So
I hadn't either. I'd never experienced a hurricane at all in my life. And it was interesting because, I did a little video on my own in the background, and this is good for the behind the scenes. I said to myself, if I get through this hurricane okay, I am going to spread my message to whoever I can about, just relieving their own stress and getting the things that they want to be inspired in their lives. And
right.
I haven't stopped since.
That's great. That's a great story.
All right, sorry to jump in, but we are coming back.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
You're listening to Finding Certainty with Patrick Lang. Have a question for Patrick or his guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now, back to the show with Patrick.
We're back. We're visiting with Sara Nakamura, who is the co-founder of Inspired Mind 360 and Massage My Mind. I don't know why I have such a hard time. I need you to massage my mind, Sara, because I keep having a hard time with your other business name.
That's okay. We created Massage My Mind for massage therapists, because although we have the skills in helping people eliminate stress in other people's bodies, the mindset component is so important too. So that's why we help with massage therapists with the mindset as well.
Well, I couldn't agree more, right? I mean, everything we do, our hurdles, our hiccups, our hangups, our everything, I think, is more affected, I think, even by the mental side of it, the mindset, than it is even the physical. You see people who are completely disabled in wheelchairs, unable to speak. I've seen speakers had no arms and legs, and yet they have the mindset part nailed, and they've done incredible things in their life. And you think, if they can do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
We have to have I think we need to have help. We have to have a coach like yourself. We need oftentimes we need some support and encouragement and direction. But if we can get the mindset part down, anything is possible. During the break, if you're watching the YouTube, you heard us. But if you're on the radio show, we were talking about how we went through a hurricane together back in October. We were at an event in Orlando. I believe you even spoke at that event, if I remember right. But it was Hurricane Ian. And tell the listeners, if you can, what you came out of that with, your decision or your resolve that came out of surviving a class 5 hurricane that went right over our heads.
It's funny. I've never told anybody this story, but I was hunkered down in my room the night the hurricane came through, and I'd never experienced a hurricane. Living in Las Vegas most of my life, we don't have hurricanes here, and I told myself, I actually made a little video, and I said, if you're getting this, then I'm no longer here. But if I survive this, then I'm going to really make sure that I send out this message of getting past my stress, getting past everyone else's stress, letting go of those emotions that are stopping us in our bodies, and really helping people to live that inspired life that they really, strive for. And so that's really what I told myself. And on the break, we were saying that, I haven't stopped doing that. It's been a few months, and, going strong with that. I really want to see people get what they want in their lives, to live that inspired life, that sometimes they have too much fear. Maybe it's, stress that's holding them back. Maybe it's some other roadblock, but that's what our mission has been, to eradicate, the dis-ease in people's bodies, and, the stress that really moves people into illness.
Right.
So that was my secret video I did.
I love that. If you're watching this video and I'm no longer here, right? It was pretty scary. I've been through earthquakes. I lived in Alaska for 6 years, and there were lots of earthquakes up there. Almost every month you had at least a tremor, but there were a couple of big ones while I was there. This was the first hurricane. I've yet to be in a tornado, but I guess it's next on my list. But let's talk about this, your use of the word disease, okay? Because you write it out in your book and in much of your your business, you refer to it as dis-ease. Talk about that. Why is it that you say it that way and incorporate that into what you do?
Well, first of all, when we hear the word disease, we turn to the person next to us that said, I have this dis-ease, and we go, oh, I feel bad for you. Or you start seeing them in a different light, and you start seeing them as a sick person.
Right,
And
right?
Sometimes, yes, as a victim, absolutely. And what I didn't want to happen is I didn't want people that's struggling with something to really be seen in that light or see themselves in that light. And, moving away from ease is not good. So we want to help people get back to that ease of their life. Again, being a native Hawaiian, we love ease. We love things to be easy, because things can really be easy if we have, the correct things in place. We have clarity if we move toward what we want.
I love that. I wrote a book, or a chapter in a book that came out recently. The book is called Mission Matters. And it's a collection of lessons from CEOs whose companies are making a difference. I was asked to be a part of it, mostly because of what we're doing to help nonprofits. We use our cost reduction expertise to help nonprofits raise funding. So if you know any nonprofits that need funding, we do it for them for free. That's what we do. That's why I was asked to be in this book. But in the chapter I wrote, I talked about accountability. And I said, I shared a story from one of my favorite books. It's called The Oz Principle. And one of the lessons that is taught in that book is to not let ourselves be or fall into the pattern or the mindset, the stance of being a victim. It says one of the most important questions we can ask and continue to ask is, what else can I do? Sometimes that's where you need to ask someone else for help. We too often we try to do it on our own, right? We need experts. We need a coach. We need experts like yourself to come in and take our hand and help us along the way. I'm a firm believer in hiring professionals to do what professionals do. That's why I didn't finish my own basement. I didn't put in my own landscaping. I don't do my accounting. And it applies in so many areas of our life. So with Inspired Mind 360, you and Rachel, who is your business partner and your life partner, she's amazing as well.
She is.
You guys co-founded the company. You basically co-wrote the book. I know you did the writing, but she was so supportive and behind the scenes, and I'm sure the mapping out the flow of the book and talking through the topics and obviously creating the content from your experience. But I know you tend to be more of the face of the company. She likes being a little bit more behind the scenes, speaking of speaking on stage, right? And fear of public speaking. But let's talk about what you do. You talk about the six, you referred to something earlier, 6 phases of life, or six steps in life. What was it you were talking about there?
Well, when we talk about stressors, there's 6 areas in life. And so we kind of came up with the acronym C-Fresh. You want to have, those fresh vitamins, the fresh things in your life. But when you look at the whole bigger picture, we really put it out there in C-Fresh stands for your career. The F is finances. The R is relationships. The E is the emotional component. S is their spirituality. And H is health. And that covers all 6 areas in life. And you can really drill down a little bit, deeper in each area, but it really comes down to those 6 areas. So, when you are going back to starting your career, maybe you put some more time and effort into your career and you don't spend as much time with your family. And maybe you're working on your health because it's the new year, but then, your spirituality starts, going by the wayside. So, people talk about there's no balance, but you know what? If you get balance at any time in your life, that even that brief moment, it's such an amazing feeling. It's kind of like if you've ever bungee jumped, jumping out of a plane, you're going down. But, when you start to recoil, you have this weightlessness and you're in the zero gravity zone for just a moment. And that's balance,
right.
And so we, as humans, we strive for that. And it's very difficult, but, so many people just go up in one area, but then they kind of let the other areas go by the wayside. So when we work on that C-Fresh, we work on all 6 areas of life. And so that, you don't have extreme ups and downs in any area. And if you do have a significant event that really debilitates you in one area, you have strength in other areas to pull you back up. Because what we believe is that, we have so much within ourselves. We have the answers, we have the abilities. And like you said, hiring a coach is such an important element. And whether it be a teacher or a mentor or hiring somebody, we need that outside, either it be somebody to bounce something off of, but really it does come from inside of us. And that's why, going into, what we talk about in the book also is the eye care system. And, everything starts from within. The eye is within, and you can look for outside influences, but it's coming from within, that drive, that inspiration. And see is contain it. If you have, something else that's bothering you, contain the situation of what you really need to really feel and understand. Mm-hmm. And if you don't need it, then put that on the outside for that particular moment. And going into the A of awareness, what's really happening? Is it that I'm tired? Is it that I'm emotional? Or is it that, I really have to solve, this issue right now? And R is rearrange it, put it in the order of what's going on for, what your hierarchy is, what you really need to do first, what you need to do second, what's third, what's important to you. And then the E is energize it. With anything that we do, you have to put some energy into it, because can you imagine trying to live out your dreams and you have no energy behind it? And there's, it just doesn't really work.
So tell us the acronym again. The I stands for the internal. This is about you. C is for contain it. Basically compartmentalize. Is that what we're talking about there?
Yep,
you've got to put things in boxes sometimes. Not that you're avoiding them or stuffing them. It's just you've got to organize them. You've got to manage them.
And containing it, where, sometimes we have outside influences. Maybe it's, a parent or a coworker, and they have great intentions, but containing their opinions or, containing, what's not working for you. Sometimes you don't need other information, just the information that you have within yourself or what's in front of you to solve the problem or to get over that stress.
Yeah, not everybody. It's funny. I think it's Bill Walsh who says that when you start out on a project, and it's always usually your family members are like, that'll never work, and then they're the first ones later who, when you've made your first million or you're a successful speaker, and they say, I knew you could do it,
Right. The broke uncles come out of the woodwork is kind of how he puts it, right?
Exactly. Okay, so that's the C, and the A stands for
awareness.
So important. The R is the
and to realign the categories and of what's important to you. Yeah, and energize.
I love that. So take us through a day in the life. Okay, when you work with clients, are you working with different types of clients? Like some are just massage clients and others are specifically working on their mindset. Are you blending the two with most of the people you work with? What's a day in the life of Sara and Rachel?
Well, we have a very diverse life right now. We still practice massage therapy. We love to help people with the tension that's in their body to release, the soft tissue, the muscles, the tendons, all of the things to help you physically feel better.
Absolutely.
What I think sometimes had been missing in the 17 years that I've been doing massage therapy is that people would still come in over and over and over because they were having a similar issue. And it's not just about how you're sleeping, and it's not just postural, but it's also, the mindset. It's also what's going on in our bodies. If you're consistently having the same type of stress over and over, you're going to have the same pain over and over. Right. And so what we started doing is we started combining like I said, the massage part of it, the mindset aspect of it, and what gets trapped in our bodies, believe it or not, is the emotional stress.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people talk
Trauma.
about emotional stress. Exactly. And the trauma could have happened, when we were very young. Our minds and bodies protect us for survival. Sometimes we don't remember a specific event, and it can be very, very traumatic. It could be in something that's really devastating, or it could be something as simple as my parents left me in the grocery store for 10 minutes and I thought the world was going to end. Our bodies remember things like that.
Right.
And it can be passed down from our parents, what we see, what they have taught us, or any of our caregivers. And there's also genetics that are involved, genetics that are passed down from generation to generation. Being Hawaiian, we call upon, our ancestors, and, being around different Polynesians, I'm sure you've had that experience. And so many cultures, really go back to what our ancestors have done. So,
Right.
stress is culminated in our bodies, our minds, and our spirits for so long. And we help them to, get past that emotional part of it. Again, think about it when you were a kid. I mean, how many times have you heard boys don't cry? And
Right.
so what do we do as kids? We stuff down our emotions, and we're taught to be strong. We're taught to, just, move on, get over it, quit being such a crybaby. All
Right.
those different things sit with us, and we store up those emotions. So that's why we combine all of those elements all together, and help our clients, no matter where they are in that stress cycle. We help them to break it. And I know we really haven't talked about the stress cycle that's in the book, but yeah, so that's basically what we do on a daily basis. Figure out what's going on for a client, whether it's an individual person that's either on our massage table or comes to us for stress relief. But we also work with companies and small businesses, because imagine the stress that people bring into the workspace. If you are bringing in, all the things that are going on in your personal life, they're not as productive. They're not thinking about the business at hand. They're worried about, how am I going to pick up my kids? Whatever it is for them, they're not focused in on the things that's right in front of them that needs to get done. So that's why we work with businesses as well, because being a business owner yourself, if your time and space is divided, as well as the people that you're working with, you're not as productive. You're not getting as much done. So, we help businesses go through that as well.
Well, that's a topic I'd love to break down in more detail, and maybe in the next segment. We're coming up on our next break, but I just want to make a comment about this, because I do believe that the stress and the weight, the trauma that we carry, it is prevalent. We all have it, right? If you feel like you're the only one, you're not, right? I heard a quote once that said, if you assume the person next to you is going through something really traumatic or really difficult, you're going to be right more often than not. And if you
Mhm.
understand that about the people around you, hopefully it makes you more empathetic and more patient with each other and so forth. But I believe the stress you're referring to is both self-inflicted. It happens from our childhood. It happens from our upbringing, our cultures, and even generationally. Let's get into that topic a little bit more when we get back after the break. But we are visiting with Sara Nakamura, who's the owner of
Inspired Mind
Inspired
360.
Mind 360. And
We'll go with that
massage.
one, Patrick.
I'm getting better.
It's
So
all great.
we'll be right back, folks. And we're enjoying this conversation very much, Sara.
All right, good thing, all clear. Back into.
I don't think I've ever had a harder time with the company name.
It's okay.
I actually
It's
choked
okay.
on it in the very first intro, and I never do that. You're probably the first, but anyway, it's I'd love to talk more about the generational thing, because anyone who works in like subconscious work, like Donna Carlson was on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I have another friend, Jenny Harkleroad, who owns a company called Balanced You, and she does much of the same work. And they talk about how it could have been trauma that happened to your great grandmother, right?
Mhm.
But it is, or she was raped, or something happened generations ago that is passed down through your DNA, and you're
Mhm.
carrying it, and you don't even know why you feel so sad or so angry.
Exactly.
And I
Yeah.
don't know if you believe that. I think there's something to that, though. I mean,
Oh,
deep.
absolutely. That's a lot of the deeper work that we do. And, so many people, they don't have that experience or background, so they don't have an understanding. So when we go and speak about things like that, people kind of go, oh, that's a woo-woo thing. And being a massage therapist, I've done energy work. My parents are both Reiki masters.
Right.
I've been around a lot of energy work. Ho'oponopono is part of, my culture. And my dad grew up next to the hospital that the Dr. Lou worked out of, that helped all those patients. So absolutely, just because we don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Right. I was having this discussion with Rachel last night really quick is, an actor does their acting, they're in a movie or whatever it is, and we capture it on video. We capture it, in a box. It sits on a shelf and then it gets rebroadcasted. Well, then you watch the movie and you go through a similar experience as that actor on stage. So whether it be happy, sad, you start going through those emotions. Well, that person's not going through it at that moment, but that projection is coming back out. We just have a vehicle called a TV or a screen that we're experiencing it.
I'm sorry.
Of course we can. Yeah.
We are just about to come back.
All right. I know. So interesting.
I know.
You're listening to Finding Certainty with Patrick Lang. Have a question for Patrick or his guests? Join us on the show at 866-472-5790. That's 866-472-5790. Now, back to the show with Patrick.
We're back. We're visiting with Sara Nakamura, who's the co-founder of Inspired Mind 360 and Massage My Mind. There, I got it. Right?
Awesome.
We've been talking about your eye care system and the C Fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I love the acronyms. If you haven't read Sarah's book, you should absolutely pick up a copy of it. Share with them the exact title.
The exact title. So, so many clients came to us and they're like, Sara, I'm stressed out and I don't know what to do. So that became the title of the book. So it's a question and a statement all at the same time. So, if you're stressed out and you don't know what to do, what we've done is we've created 2-minute techniques to help you stress less when you're exhausted, overwhelmed, and burnt out. So that became the title of the book.
I love it because so many times you read a title and you're trying to guess what the book is about, right? Yours just lays it out there. This is exactly what this will do for you. And I love it. I know it's doing really well on Amazon and bestseller now, international bestseller, if I'm not mistaken. And
yes.
That's exciting. I mean, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. When we put out the book, we did the Kindle version for 99 cents. And so we got so much feedback from people saying, no, Sara, I really want to have a physical copy of the book. So here's, if you're on YouTube, this is the physical copy of the book. And because it's a workbook also. You can write directly in it. You make a statement to yourself. You work through the 2-minute exercises, and it really becomes something that you can take with you. And when stress strikes, you've got techniques at your fingertips to help you get over it.
Well, I love that because, you don't always in the moment, right? In the chaos, in the instant, you can't always remember what you're supposed to do, right? So to have a workbook, it's like a first aid kit that's right there at your fingertips. You can pull out and just do one of those 2-minute exercises. I mean, I'm a total optimist, right? I've been an optimist all my life, and I went through Dale Carnegie's training. I was a Dale Carnegie instructor years ago, but I was just visiting with my dad just the other day, and we were talking before the break about how, where does our stress come from? I mean, sometimes it's self-inflicted, usually it's external, or it's being things being forced upon us, but it can also be generational, right? It can literally be passed down. It's proven, or it's been researched and studied and theorized, but that the stress and the trauma can actually be passed down through our DNA. Maybe it was your great grandmother who lost a child at birth or something, and you don't really even understand why you feel this pain and this loss, because you think, my life's pretty good. Why do I feel this way? It's happening on this subconscious level, this almost genetic or molecular level. I was talking to my dad, and he deals with some trauma from his upbringing with his mother, and who we love, but was also very challenging, had a lot of issues, and a lot of health issues, especially, and some grief and some trauma in her life. And I think it was passed down to her kids and even passed down to our family. And you spoke earlier about trying to break the chain, right? How do you do that? How do you and Rachel, using the eye care system, using the See Fresh approach, how do you help people break the chain? Is it just these 2-minute exercises, or is it more? Because my guess is, as you're peeling back the layers, you're getting into some pretty deep stuff with people.
Absolutely. And, there's so much beneath the surface, just like we talked about earlier with Las Vegas. If you're staying on the Strip, you're in the entertainment capital of the world. But if you get beneath that surface, there's a city, there's people, there's connection, right? So everything has layers. There's so much beneath the surface in everything that we do. I mean, if you think about it, when you say, hi, how are you doing? One of the things that people say, I'm fine, how are you? And, but what's really going on beneath the surface is so much more. And, that's a segment of the book. But, I think the bigger thing is the stress cycle. It's not like the 7 steps of grief where, you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the stress cycle really can be, internal, have some kind of trigger from the inside. Again, like you were just talking about, whether it's from a caregiver, a parent, passed down from a generation, but it can be something from the outside. It could be as simple as somebody cutting you off on the freeway. So
Right.
those triggers of stress are internal and external. And, we created it as a circle because it's really, this thing that you don't go in a stage or a process, again, like it's linear. So it's where you have a thought, your thought processes are, the cognitive part of it, your mindset. And, it's when you're making decisions or you have worry in your life. It's, your thought really creates an emotion, and emotion creates a thought. It goes back into your body, kind of bounces back and forth like a pinball machine,
Right.
back and forth between your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your body. So, what we created was this cycle that you can see. You can see a picture of it in our book. It's on page 25. But really, I mean, it really goes back and forth with the fact that, we get into the fight, flight, or freeze. And then what happens? If you're in the fight mode, you get angry, you start yelling at your spouse. Maybe it's something as simple as, who's taking out the trash. But if you have a 2-minute technique that helps you to really relax in that situation, or to remove yourself from that situation and to calm yourself, that's really going to help you in the future. It's going to help you in that moment. And it does really peel back the layers. That 2-minute technique goes a long way. And we created these 2-minute techniques in all 6 areas of life. But like you were talking about peeling back that layer, yes, we do deeper work. Once you get a win for the day, a win for the week, you're able to do deeper work. And so whether it's our 2-minute techniques, our 2-month, coaching where we, help you break these things down, or our 2-day intensive where we get to the root of the emotional stress, we eliminate that. And you can't change what happens in life, but you can change your perception. You can change how you attach that meaning to it and really, let that go and move past your roadblocks.
Right. Obviously, coming out of COVID, there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of stress. In our business, we offer, among other things, everything we do is about putting money back on our clients' bottom line, right? We help them make more, we help them keep more, we help them give more. That's our goal. But it's interesting because one of the divisions we have is about low-cost benefits. So anyone out there who's a 1099 or an independent contractor, self-employed, sole proprietor, whatever, it's very difficult for them to find benefits that they can afford that are any good. And we have several of those available, but our number one seller, hands down, is our mental health program. It gives unlimited counseling appointments to a family for $30 a month. And it's a network of therapists that are banded together, cut out the insurance companies. But I just find it's interesting. I have a colleague who signed up the Oregon Medical Association. They have 18,000 doctors, and they have good health insurance. They didn't need our coverage option, but they wanted our mental health option, because imagine how much healthcare providers coming out of COVID are stressed, right, and dealing with PTSD and so forth. So
yeah, and that honestly became one of the catalysts for me to really put this story on paper. Rachel and I had a colleague who I did a lot of training with over the 7 years that I worked with her. And, we worked at a 5-star spa, and during COVID, she lost hope in her life, and she ended up completing suicide. She left her twin boys and a son in college. And looking back at it, you can kind of see some of the things that were going on. But, in the moment, not a lot of people had that, ability to see it, because everybody was dealing with their own stress with the pandemic. And, moving forward, that was really something that, I said, I really need to make a difference, because, with the training that we had, we really could have helped, but, you can't go back in the past and help somebody that's no longer here. So all we can do is, help the people that are in front of us, help the people that want to be helped wherever they are in that stress cycle.
Yeah. I think it's so important that if we have insights, that we share them. I mean, that's why I was so grateful to see your book and know what you guys are doing, because you're exactly right. If we don't know the signs and we don't see them, oftentimes we're unaware. We're just oblivious. We're dealing with our own stuff, and someone next to us is going through a really difficult time. I'm a firm believer that when we're going through hard times and we're stressed or worried or dealing with illness or something, the very best way to feel better is to serve someone else. Get out and take dinner to someone who's going through cancer, or and you cannot help but feel better when you serve others. You used the word FINE a little while ago, and I heard an acronym years ago that FINE stands for freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. So when somebody says I'm doing fine, they probably aren't, right?
Exactly. And the perception of what's going on for somebody else, again, we don't know what's really happening with people. And especially these days, we're really good at hiding things. And, we tend to, struggle with our stress in silence. I did that for so long, like you said earlier about, you're not the only one. Well, I thought I was the only one at that time. And there's so many people that I've experienced that feel like they're the only one going through their particular situation. And, that's where we, help to extract that and help them get that out so that they can, be inspired. We feel different. We look different. We're attracted to different people. People are attracted to us when we're living that inspired life, aren't we?
Well, it's so true. Talking about ripple effects, we can have big ripple effects and small ripple effects. That small ripple effect might just be that 2-minute exercise that relieves that stress in that instant and helps us have a better day. And maybe we help somebody else in the process, and they go help someone else. But then there's these big ripple effects when you remove the trauma and you're clearing out the baggage and the pain, the regret, and the things that you do. So we're coming up on the end of the show. Just maybe one last thought, if there's anything we've missed, and then share if you would, with listeners how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. One thing I really want to emphasize is that, part of writing this book, I had my 11-year-old nephew in mind, as well as, a grandparent. And so the book can be for anybody to really help themselves, but also gift it to somebody else, open up that line of communication, help them to help themselves, because it's really about empowerment. And, until I started helping myself, I wasn't able to help others in a really big capacity. And I'm sure you have a similar experience. And so for anybody that wants to get a book, wants to also know a little bit more about Rachel and I and what we do, you can text the phrase stressed out, STRESSED stressed out, to 26786. So 26786, and type in the phrase stressed out just as one word. You'll be able to get some of our tips. You'll be able to get directed to Amazon to get the book, and you'll be able to get into our community. And it's a great way to help support yourself and to support others.
Wow, it's so important, Sarah. really enjoyed and am enjoying getting to know you and Rachel better. You're such a power couple, and what you're doing is making a real difference. And I love the fact that your book is a workbook, because we learn by doing, right? If we
Exactly.
read it, we only remember so much. If we write it down, we remember so much more. And if we teach it to someone else, we remember the most, so
That's why I love Jim Quick, and he talks about that implementation is so key. It's not just the knowledge, right?
yeah, well, this has been fun. You guys are awesome. And we've been visiting with Sara Nakamura. She is the owner of, I'm going to say it one last time, Improvement. Inspired Mind 360 and Massage My Mind. Is that right?
That's right. That's right,
Okay.
Patrick. Thank you so much for having me and for letting us share this message. And hopefully this has been a great experience for your audience as well.
Well, I'm sure it has. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks, everybody. Come back next week. We'll have another fantastic guest here on Finding Certainty. Thanks, Sara.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Good job today. All clear.
Thanks a lot, Matt.
Yep, you're welcome. Thanks.
Thank you.
Weekend.
That was fun.
Appreciate it. It was fun.
I don't know. I have such a hard time with your name, and I love your company name. I don't know why. I'm probably because I went to bed at about 2 and got up at 6 this morning. So going on about 4 hours.
No worries. I think sometimes too, people go, okay, massage. And then they go, wait, my mind, what is that? So you kind of get in this like intrigueness, but
massaging your brain, but that's not what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I was talking about stress. I was telling you how we've been working on this big project for a long time now, and it's been a long time coming, and we finally got it done yesterday. I mean, it's signed, sealed, delivered, and it's gonna be a good thing for our company, but it has been very stressful, right? So I'm looking forward to reading your book. Thanks for the copy. And I'm sure I can apply some of the techniques.
Absolutely. We made it, so straightforward, and we just wanted to help people. And our attention spans are so short these days. What do they compare it to? A goldfish? And, just the fact that, people need quick and easy solutions these days, because we're on to the next and on to the next. And we're so inundated with so much data, so much on our to-do lists, that we don't have time to really sit down these days and really do a 2-hour training or, just different things. You want quick wins to kind of help you move through all of this. Yeah. Right. So I'm glad that you got, I'm glad I was able to, we both, Rachel and I, dropped off the book. So we're glad we're so close that, we could do that, and,
nice.
Let us know how we can assist in any other ways with the book, or, helping to get more of the message out. And, however that is with your company. We support the Lauren Elizabeth Foundation. That's the foundation where it supports service animals. And the reason why it's so near and dear to my heart is because Lauren Elizabeth was my cousin, and she unfortunately died in her 20s because stress got a hold of her. She ended up going down a really destructive path, and she had some addiction challenges, and that unfortunately became her demise. But she really relied on her service animal for comfort and for support. And so now the family really has put forward the Lauren Elizabeth Foundation as a nonprofit to help local animals here in Nevada. So I would love to make that connection, and I'm sure you can support them and assist them in some way.
I'd love to talk to him. Our Certainty Partners program, we realized we thought about starting our own nonprofit, but we realized we could do a lot more good by helping multiple nonprofits with their funding needs, because excuse me, the number one thing most nonprofits need is more funding. The more funding they have, the more promotion, the more good they can do. And so, if I'd love to talk to them, we give them our help at no cost to them. I can raise them as much funding as they need. So by all means, let's get together. Be happy to serve them. So
yeah, I appreciate that. And how can we serve you in supporting you and your business and anything else?
Yeah. Well, let's get on another Zoom with the three of us. I'll tell you more about what we do. There may be some ways we can help. I mentioned the mental health service, that may be something you can refer to clients, and as an addition or as an adjunct to what you all do, it's a great service, and it's kind of revolutionary how they're pricing it and how they're doing it. There's zero copays for counseling sessions, and sometimes people need that. They need somebody to talk to who's licensed, who can prescribe a medication if they need it, can give them some other types of counseling in addition to what they're getting from you. It might be a really good thing. So anyway, thanks so much. I better stop this video. We'll go on forever. We try, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you. And people can get the behind the scenes. I love this.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Yeah, it's not very, I don't really edit it or anything. We just put it out there. So
Just put it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's been fun.
Well, thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
You're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. And, let me know when you want to jump on that Zoom call and we can, make that happen. And, I think, what we do alongside of what you do, I mean, there's so much potential. There's so much potential out there to help so many people. And, like you said earlier, we all need it.
Yeah.
We've gone through so much in the last few years, and people don't know where to turn. I didn't know where to turn. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish I'd had this book when I was 10, when I was 20, when I was 30, because those were very significant points in my life.
When I was 15, that's when I really needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
yeah. So, and I'm sure, I mean, and you have 5 kids, hopefully you can, share that with, with them in some capacity if you so choose.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. Thanks for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Patrick. Appreciate it.
Yeah.